Your Excellency, in your capacity as a Deputy Prime Minister, I'd like to touch on the embargo into its 18th month. Any sign of a breakthrough in the stalemate?
Well, there is no sign yet of breakthrough on the blockade of Qatar until now. Qatar remained open for the dialogue, while the blockading states are still they escalate from time to time, and they didn't do any movement, any further steps since even the last GCC summit, which we were expecting that some breakthrough might happen, and Qatar just carrying on with its own national agenda.
So in your perspective, what would it take for a breakthrough? I mean, can you initiate anything?
Well, normally for any crisis resolution, you need both parties of the crisis to engage in a good faith. And Qatar tried to engage in a good faith since the beginning of the blockade, but unfortunately the blockading states, they were not. They were not ready to act reasonably, and even they were not ready to engage positively with the mediators, which is Emir of Kuwait and other friendly nations.
Given the circumstances, is it consideration that you may choose closer ties with the likes of Iran, Iraq, Turkey? Would that be an alternative for you?
Well, there is no alternative for the GCC as a regional framework for Qatar. We believe that GCC its strength and its unity, and this is what the state of Qatar has believed in throughout the time since the establishment and the founding of the GCC. Turkey, Iraq, other countries, Iran as well, those countries are part of our region. We need to build a strong relationship and partnerships with the other countries in the region, and we need to have a positive and constructive relationship with those countries, and those are not exclusively done because of the GCC crisis, but this is a part of Qatar's strategy in maintaining friendly relationship with everybody. Iran, maybe we have differences, we have disagreements with them in different policies in our region, and we talk about these disagreements, but also Iran is our neighbor. At the end of the day, we have a shared gas field together. We need to keep this engagement ongoing. We have a shared borders together, so we need to keep to engage in border security together. And they open their skies when the blockading states close their airspace on the face of our people. So all these countries in the region are important to engage with. And Qatar remain open with the GCC crisis and without the GCC crisis. And we hope that GCC, other members of the GCC, especially the blockading states, they go back to reason and they start to engage with their own region and resolve these issues.
So if the embargo were to persist, might you consider closer relationship with the likes of Iran, Iraq, and Turkey? Well, what if it leaves you no choice?
Well, with Turkey, we have already very close strategic relationship. That we stood next to each other during the difficult times. When Turkey was going through a difficult time, Qatar stood for it. When Qatar went through a difficult time, Turkey stood for it, and we have this strategic alliance. Iraq is also a part of our region, and we welcome Iraq back to the Arab world as a stable nation, and trying to help in stabilizing this nation. And closer relationship with Iraq is a plus for Qatar. As I told you earlier, whether the GCC crisis remains or it's been resolved. Regarding Iran, Iran is part of our geography. Iran is our neighbor, and we hope also that the GCC start to engage together with Iran in a positive and constructive dialogue to resolve these outstanding issues of our regional securities, which impacting our security directly and indirectly.
Qatar has invested $10 million. Let me get the $500 million. Let me take that again. Qatar has invested $500 million in Lebanon's bonds. What's thinking behind that, and can we expect more to come?
Well, first of all, Lebanon's stability is our regional stability, and it's very important for Qatar. Qatar has been an active player regionally in stabilizing different countries. Lebanon is just one among them. We have His Highness the Emir. He attended the Arab League summit for economic development, and he had a discussion with the president of Lebanon, and they explained for us their situation, that any help will be in buying the government bonds will help to stabilize the economy, and we took our decision both based on our assessment to stabilize the country, but also as an investment decision. This is a good investment because also,
despite the fact that the questions about the sustainability of its debt burden.
Lebanon throughout history, their debt, they never defaulted in the repayment of their interest. So there is no any record for them that a default might happen. And we are going to work it out together with them, and we have a trust and confidence in their economy and the people of Lebanon that's going to stand again, is going to flourish again.
In your capacity as a chairman of the Qatar Investment Authority, you've committed 10 billion euros in Germany. Give us a sense of where it will be invested in Germany. I mean, there are indications out there that you may be interested in Deutsche Bank.
Well, Qatar Investment Authority is looking at different sectors, good investments, as a long-term strategic investor. It's the sovereign wealth fund. It is the fund of the next generation of our people. So we make sure that all the decisions that we are taking that will have a long-lasting positive impact for our fund. We look at different sectors. Financial services
what would make sense?
is among them, infrastructure, as well as industrial sector. Qatar has already a significant investment in Germany, and our pledge in the last conference last year is just part of our strategy and continuation in growing our investments in Europe, and especially in Germany, given the German economy and how robust it is.
Might you be interested in a stake in Deutsche Bank?
Well, we are interested in all the good companies.
Have you been in talks?
We are talking with everybody.
That includes Deutsche Bank?
Includes everybody.
That's good to know. Now, where the authority is concerned, there's been management changes. Will there be, I guess, different priorities as well?
Well, it's part of the normal organic change for any government bureaucracy. So to look at leaner bureaucracy, to look at a new experience, new bloods, a new generation are coming in. QIA is part of this government structure that it has the change. We look forward to contribute positively for the fund, myself and my colleagues, the board member, and to contribute to the growth of our country and the diversification of our economy.
Are there specific sectors you may be interested in particular for this year?
Well, we are looking at different sectors, as I mentioned. Mainly for this year, we are looking at technology, infrastructure, and healthcare sector. Those are three sectors are remaining a priority for QIA, given our diversification strategy. And we had a lot of investments earlier in different financial services and industrial, as I mentioned.
Might you make any exits from investments relating to the UAE or any other country that's part of the embargo?
Well, we never politicized our investment decisions. Qatar Investment Authority policy has been very consistent from the beginning. We take our decision based on pure commercial assessment. We have a lot of companies where we are holding a stake, and other countries from the blockading states, they are holding their stake, and we don't take the decision based on the political situation between us and them. It's applied to all our commercial activities, not as a QIA, but also as a government of Qatar. One of the examples is the gas pipeline, which is still supplying UAE with their requirement of LNG, which they depend on in their power generation. So we have a clear and a very strong view on this, that we should have a China wall between the politics and the other things, whether it's commercial, culture, people, everything. We don't politicize.
Your Excellency, there's so much uncertainty in the world today that's impacting growth and the projection of growth. In your view, what's the biggest risk right now? Is it the US-China war? Would it be Trump's policies?
Well, everybody is speculating that 2019 will be a year of turbulence for the markets, that 2019 we might have a market slowdown. There are a lot of challenges. US and China trade agreement is one of these challenges if they are not going to achieve it, because both of them, they are the strongest economy in the world. So they are playing a major factor in any slowdown if it will happen. But if they're even when in the time of slowdown and in the time of any economic crisis, there are a lot of opportunities emerging. Qatar Investment Authority had made a lot of transactions during the previous crisis in 2008. And
so where do you see these opportunities?
Well, the opportunities will lie in different sectors. I'm sure that there are a lot of things that can come up if this market slowdown will happen. Still, there are indications, but nothing happened yet. But Qatar Investment Authority will remain also looking and be investment opportunistic as well.